Hi, I shall be demonstrating to you the two methods of composting vegetable waste as I am doing it in my root garden. I shall first show you the aerobic method of composting and then show you the anaerobic method and tell you the reasons why one is faster and more effective than the other. This particular gadget that you are seeing is a composter marketed by a company called Daily Dump, Bangalore based. It contains three earthen pots piled one over the other with a lid on top. I shall show you the makeup of this unit. This unit is of terracotta with aerated holes all around, and then the base is actually the hollow. There is no base. And instead they have made a very wide spaced plastic rope mesh. The purpose of this is any liquid that is generated during composting, automatically it goes down to the lower one, and also the second part is the composted material also keeps moving down. Now this is the first one. The second one is similar to the first. And as you can see, this is already in a very advanced stage of composting. Because of the wet weather, there seems to have been a little excess water. This also has the same kind of base with plastic rope meshing. The third one is the receptacle. And it has a solid base on which the other two containers rest. You can see the third one where more than the compost is 70 to 80% ready. It is already composted. Certain harder material are yet to compost, but most of the vegetable portion is already composted. Now what we do is we collect all the vegetable waste, flowers, paper, eggshells, even leftover food, and put it in the top container. We put it in the top container. Paper waste, flowers, leaves and other roots, etc. from the garden, all that we collect it and put it into the top container and go on filling it up. And to this we add a composter. We add a composter which is readily available on the net. Amazon is marketing it, called Bioculum, and it is a biological inoculum for composting. We just collect a handful of this and sprinkle it over the material, or all the vegetable waste. Just a handful, not much. Just a handful is all that is required. Once the top container gets filled up, we move the top container to the second position and bring the second position container to the top and continue the process. Once the top two containers are full, the contents of the second container is transferred to the bottom container, which is at that stage more than 70-80% composted. Okay, this whole contraption is covered with a lid. Ensure that there is not much of water. If it rains, see that it is kept in the shade, and also avoid extreme temperatures, extreme heat in our country, because that sort of interferes with the process of composting. Now this 3 to 4 weeks time, this has become compost, as you can see from the bottom container, as I showed you already. And this can be sorted out, sieved, or simply spread in the sun, and the hard particles which have not composted can again be brought back here. Any plastic waste or something which has inadvertently gone in can be eliminated. And the fully composted material is sun dried and is ready to be used for your plants. Only ensure that it is fully dried so that there's no fungus attack or whatsoever. This is how I have been doing it for several months now. I shall be demonstrating to you the anaerobic method of composting vegetable waste. This is just the plastic pot which I have made a few holes at the bottom, which you normally do to any pot before planting. In this pot you collect all the vegetable waste, all organic material, but you do not add any paper, which you can do in the aerobic method. Paper does not get composted in this method. And what you do is you just fill it up with the compost, and to this you add a compost maker which is available online. I bought it from Amazon. This is the product of one company called Trust Basket, which is again online. And all you do is you pour a small quantity of this powder, just about a handful or two, to see that the total surface of the vegetable waste gets covered. Every filling of vegetable waste, you add a layer of composter. And in this case, you notice there are no perforations of any kind, and as far as possible, try to fit in a very tight lid. And if possible, put a little weight so that there is minimum of aeration in this container. Over a period of time, this material gets composted. If I'm not able to demonstrate it today, but what happens is in about 3-4 days time, the surface gets covered by a fungal type white material that actually indicates that composting has started. You can stir it a few times, once in a few days with a stirrer or with your hands. It's pretty safe. I have been doing it without even gloves. There's nothing harmful. Occasionally you get a few ants and maggots. They are both, the ants are a little irritating because they bite you, but the maggots are a totally safe insect. If you want to get rid of them, all you do is add a handful of neem cake, a little quantity of neem cake. A handful of neem cake is all that is required to get rid of the maggots and the ants. Again, a very safe organic material which further enhances the quality of your compost, because you get the added nourishment and the biological pesticide that is neem cake. Anything that is available at home can be converted into a composter. Here I am using an earthen pot, a discarded earthen pot for aerobic composting. It can as well be used for anaerobic composting. Now, one very interesting thing about this anaerobic method is, you see I put a receptacle at the bottom. You get a lot of liquid once the composting starts, and this liquid is actually not to be discarded. This is liquid manure. You dilute it about 10 times and directly apply it to the plants. And the site of the manual of the composter company says that this is an excellent cleaning agent which you can use for your toilets. I have tried it with good results. So this is an added advantage. You can get rid of your chemical harpic, etc., and go for a biological cleaning agent in your toilet. Now let me show you, if possible, some of the results of my final results of my compost. This is the end product of the material, composted material, which I have just collected today from those containers. You can see a few things haven't got composted, like jute fiber, this coconut fiber. This takes a little longer to get composted. All you do is rake it up and the leftovers can go back into the composter, and in a few days time, and as far as possible, these do not. Seeds are best avoided because they will not compost, they will not decompose, and ultimately when you use it in the plant, you will find a lot of plants growing. Many of them may not be of any use to you. So as far as possible, see that seeds do not get into the composter. There is not much of a difference between the anaerobic method and the aerobic method of composting, but there are some distinct advantages with each. In the anaerobic method, you can only compost vegetable waste. Things like paper, etc. do not. You can add even cooked food, idli, dosa and things of that kind. Avoid things like sambar, etc. which are soggy. Whereas in the aerobic method, you can use even paper. So you can shred paper into small pieces, and which can, instead of throwing it and discarding small cardboard cartons, etc., simply shred it into the smallest pieces and add it, and they compost also, thereby reducing your contribution to the dumps in your city. In the aerobic method, the process is rather slow compared to the anaerobic method. It takes close to a month or more for the aerobic compost to be ready. Whereas in about 15 days to 3 weeks time, your compost in the anaerobic method is more than 90% composted. So I found where I have a constraint of space, I would rather prefer the anaerobic method. Only thing is, I noticed that in the case of anaerobic method, if any water gets into the system, the composting simply stops. So ensure that you put it in a place where it doesn't get drenched due to rain or otherwise. It doesn't seem to affect the aerobic method if you do it in a small quantity. Excess water might not help. An interesting thing, if I have created an impression that there is some kind of a high technology process, it is not. If you do not want to spend money and you do not have any plans to buy these composting powders from the market, you have curds at home. Simply take a tablespoon of curds and add it to your vegetable waste, and it composts using the aerobic method. Even the container in which you put curd, simply wash it and put the washings inside. That would be sufficient to compost, because ultimately curds is also the lactobacillus in curd is a very powerful biological agent. Later on, if even that you would not like to do it, any compost you already have, like vermicompost or any compost or cow dung compost that we use in your garden, you simply take a small quantity of that and keep on adding to the composting unit, and you'll see that composting takes place. These are nothing but accelerators. They speed up the process of composting. Nothing other than that. Otherwise, nature is so designed that it composts by itself. The bacteria are generated within, and we've seen that for time immemorial. This has been happening in nature. The additives are only to see that the process is hastened and is just faster. Now, thank you very much. I hope I have been able to motivate you to start composting at home. Best of luck.